Hello there. Yes, hello. I'm glad you found your way here tonight. I hope your day has been kind to you. Perhaps it was long. Perhaps it was filled with the sorts of things that days are filled with. Either way, you're here now. And that's what matters. Tonight, if you'll allow me, I'd like to take you somewhere. Not anywhere dramatic, mind you. Nothing like that. Just out to where the light falls golden across the grasslands, where the air grows cool as evening settles, where lions lie in the shade, breathing slowly, watching the world with those amber eyes that have seen everything and seem surprised by nothing. We'll go slowly. You and I, there's no hurry at all. I've spent a good many years thinking about lions. Not in any formal way, you understand. Just thinking, watching, wondering about them. And what I've found over all this time is that lions are not quite what we imagine them to be. They're quieter than that, gentler in their way. They know something about rest that perhaps we've forgotten. So settle yourself now, if you would. Find a comfortable place. Let your shoulders drop just a little. That's it. We begin out on the savannah, where the grasses grow as tall as a man's chest, where the acacia trees spread their branches like old umbrellas against the sun. There, the lions spend most of their days doing very little at all. And I mean that quite literally. 20 hours sometimes. 20 hours out of every day, a lion will rest. Just rest. Not sleeping always, though often sleeping, yes, but resting, lying in the shade, eyes half closed, paws stretched out before them, heavy and still. Can you imagine that? 20 hours. We rush about so much, don't we? Always moving, always doing. But the lion knows better. It understands something fundamental, something we might have known once, long ago, before clocks and schedules and all the noise of modern living. It knows that rest is not weakness. Rest is wisdom. A lion might lie beneath a tree for hours, barely moving at all. Its great rib cage rising and falling, in that slow rhythm that all breathing creatures share. The light changes around it. Morning becomes afternoon. Afternoon becomes that golden time before evening. And still, the lion rests. Sometimes one eye will open, just slightly. A lazy glance at the world. A fly might land on its ear, and the ear will twitch just once. Then stillness again. Such beautiful, complete stillness. The grasslands can be terribly hot, you see. 40 degrees, sometimes more. The sun beats down on those wide open spaces with a fierce insistence. Everything shimmers in the heat. The horizon becomes uncertain, wavering like water. And so the lions rest. They rest in the shade of whatever trees they can find. They rest in tall grass that offers some relief from the sun's gaze. They rest together, often, lying close to one another, flanks touching, breath mingling in that quiet way that speaks of trust and belonging, a pride of lions. Now there's something to see, not in motion necessarily, not hunting or roaring or any of those dramatic things. No, a pride of lions at rest, scattered across the shade like golden stones, some on their sides, legs extended, others with heads resting on the back of a companion. The cubs draped over their mothers like small, furry blankets. They breathe together almost, as if they've all agreed, without words, to simply be here, to exist, to let the day pass over them like a slow river. Young lions sleep even more than the adults do. The cubs, they might sleep 22 hours in a day. Can you imagine? They tumble about for a brief while, full of that temporary energy that young things possess. They wrestle and play and pounce on their siblings' tails. And then, quite suddenly, they simply stop. They flop down wherever they happen to be. Sometimes on top of another cub. Sometimes half in the sun and half in the shade, as if they couldn't quite make it all the way to comfort before sleep claimed them. And the mothers watch with those patient eyes. They don't rush to move the cubs. They don't fuss. They just watch. Occasionally, one will reach out with a great paw and gently pull a cub closer, tucking it against her warmth. But mostly, they let them sleep where they fall, because they understand, the lionesses do, that young things need their rest. That growing is hard work. That becoming strong requires this time of deep, surrendered sleep. The male lions, with their magnificent manes, they rest too. Differently, perhaps. There's a weight to a male lion's rest. Those manes are heavy, you see. All that hair, thick and dark, catching the heat. So the males seek out the deepest shade. They lie with their great heads on their paws, manes spread around them like dark clouds. Sometimes they'll rest their heads on a termite mound, using it as a pillow. Can you picture that? This enormous predator, this creature of such strength and power, using a termite mound as a pillow. There's something wonderfully ordinary about it. Something that reminds us that all creatures, no matter how grand, just want to be comfortable. The breathing of a resting lion is a beautiful thing to observe. So deep, so steady. The whole body rises and falls with it. There's no tension there, no holding, just breath moving through a body that has surrendered completely to rest. In the heat of the day, you might see their tongues, just slightly visible between those powerful jaws, panting gently, not from exertion, just from heat, just the body's way of staying cool. The tongue is surprisingly pink, surprisingly soft-looking, a gentle contrast to all that power. And the paws. Oh, the paws are something wonderful. When a lion is truly at rest, truly comfortable, the paws relax completely. Those great paws, each one nearly the size of a dinner plate, with their dark pads and their retracted claws. They spread slightly, toes apart, heavy and soft against the ground. Sometimes one paw will twitch in sleep. Some dream, perhaps. Some remembered chase across the grasslands of the mind. The toes flex, just slightly. Then stillness again. The tail is another thing entirely. A lion's tail is long, you see, quite long, and at the end, there's a tuft of dark hair like a brush. When a lion rests, the tail lies alongside the body or curled around. Sometimes it drapes over a companion. Sometimes it just lies there, heavy and still and completely relaxed. But even in rest, even in that deep stillness, the tail might move, just the tip of it, a small flick, another. It's like a thought, almost. A tiny acknowledgement that the lion is still present, still aware, even in repose. The ears, too. The ears are always working, even when the lion seems fast asleep. They're quite round, those ears, dark on the back, lighter inside. And they rotate, independently of each other sometimes, following sounds across the savannah. A bird call, the rustle of another animal moving through grass, the distant sound of water. The ears catch it all, turning this way and that, even while the eyes remain closed, even while the body stays perfectly still. It's a kind of restful alertness, if such a thing exists. The lion is resting, yes, deeply resting, but some part of it is always listening, always present to the world around it, even in sleep. You can learn something from this, I think. This quality of being both still and aware, of resting deeply while remaining gently present, not forcing anything, not straining, just being. The light changes as afternoon deepens. The sun begins its slow descent. The heat lessens just slightly, and the lions continue to rest. They don't check the time. They don't worry about how long they've been still. They simply rest until they're ready not to. Sometimes a lioness will yawn. Have you seen a lion yawn? It's quite spectacular. The mouth opens wide, incredibly wide, revealing those impressive teeth. The tongue curls. The whole face scrunches slightly. And then it's over. The mouth closes. The eyes remain half shut. Rest continues. There's no self-consciousness in it. No concern about how it looks. Just a pure animal yawn. A release of tension. A resettlement into comfort. And then, perhaps, the lioness will shift slightly. Roll from one side to the other. Stretch out those powerful legs. The paws flex and spread. The body extends, long and lean and strong. A deep breath, another, and then stillness again in this new position. The cubs pile together when they sleep. They seek warmth and contact, even on hot days. 3, 4, 5 cubs in a heap. Impossible to tell where one ends and another begins. Paws and tails and small round ears all mixed together. They make small sounds in their sleep sometimes. Little murmurs, tiny rumbles. Perhaps they dream of milk. Perhaps they dream of stalking beetles in the grass. Perhaps they dream of nothing at all. And these sounds are just the sounds of small bodies processing all the learning, all the growing, all the becoming that they're doing. Block 2. As the day cools toward evening, the pride begins to stir. Not all at once. Never all at once. One lion might lift its head. Look around with sleepy eyes. Yawn again. Then settle back down. But there's a gradual awakening happening. A slow return to movement. This is when they begin to groom. Lions are quite particular about grooming, you see. They spend a good amount of time on it. Not in any frantic way, but in that same slow, deliberate manner they bring to everything else. A lion will lick its paws, long, slow licks with that rough tongue. The tongue is covered in tiny barbs, you see, like a comb almost. It helps to clean the fur, to remove dirt and debris. The lion licks its paw, then uses that dampened paw to wash its face, just like an enormous cat. Which, of course, it is. There's something wonderfully domestic about it. Something that bridges the vast distance between this apex predator and the small cat that might be sleeping on a cushion somewhere in a house far away. The same gesture, the same attention to cleanliness, the same slow, methodical care. Lions will groom each other too. This is where you see the tenderness, the affection. A lioness will approach another, sometimes in the midst of her own washing. She'll begin to lick her companion's face, her ears, the back of her neck. Long, slow, thorough licks. The one being groomed often closes her eyes, tips her head back slightly, giving access to her throat, that vulnerable place, trusting completely. And the grooming continues, patient and gentle. Sometimes two lions will groom each other simultaneously, lying close together, each tending to the other's face and neck and ears. It's mutual care, mutual comfort, a way of saying, without words, we are together. We belong to each other. The males with their great manes receive attention too. The lionesses will groom around the edges of the mane, where face meets that thick hair. The males seem to appreciate this. They'll lean into it slightly, eyes half closed, accepting the care being offered. Cubs are groomed constantly. Their mothers wash them thoroughly, regularly. The mother's tongue is large compared to the small cub, and you can see the cub's fur pushed this way and that by the force of it. But the cubs submit to it peacefully. They know they're being cared for. They know they're safe. Sometimes a mother will hold a cub down with one great paw while she grooms it, not roughly, but firmly, because cubs, like all young things, can be wiggly, can be distracted, and the mother knows that this grooming is important. It's not just about cleanliness, it's about bonding, about touch, about saying, in the language of lions, you are mine and I am yours. When the grooming is done, there's often a moment of pause. The lions sit or lie near each other, faces clean, fur smoothed. There's a quality of satisfaction in it, of rightness. And then, perhaps, they'll begin to move. Not hunting, not yet, sometimes not at all. Sometimes they'll simply walk a short distance to a new patch of shade, or to a favorite resting spot they prefer for the evening. They move slowly, unhurried, tails swaying gently, heads lowered in that relaxed way they have. Lions walk very quietly for such large animals. You'd think you'd hear them coming, wouldn't you? But no, the paws are soft. The movements are fluid. They drift across the landscape like shadows, like golden ghosts. When they do hunt, well, that's not really for tonight, is it? This isn't about the dramatic moments, the chase, the capture. We're here for the quieter truths. But I'll tell you this, even in hunting, lions rest. They do most of their hunting at night or in the cooler parts of dawn and dusk. But the hunts themselves are brief. Intense, yes, but brief. Lions are sprinters, not marathon runners. They can't maintain a chase for long, so they stalk slowly, carefully. They rest between movements, lowering themselves into the grass, becoming invisible, waiting, watching, resting even while hunting. And after a hunt, after a meal, well, then comes the deepest rest of all. A fed lion is a sleepy lion. A pride that has eaten well will rest for many, many hours. Sometimes days, depending on the size of the meal. They'll lie near the remains of their food, bellies full and distended, barely able to move. Have you ever eaten too much at a holiday meal? That wonderful, overwhelming fullness. That desire to just lie down, to let the body do its work of digesting. Lions know that feeling very well. They sprawl in ungainly positions, these full lions. On their backs, sometimes, paws in the air. Completely vulnerable, completely unconcerned. Or stretched out on their sides, ribs rising and falling with heavy, satisfied breaths. The cubs, if they've been allowed to feed, will have round little bellies. They'll nurse afterward too, seeking that additional comfort, that connection with their mothers. And then they'll sleep deeply and completely, processing all that nourishment into growth, into strength, into becoming. Water is important to lions, though they don't need as much as you might think. They can go 4 or 5 days without drinking if necessary. They get moisture from their food, you see, from the blood and flesh of their prey. But when they do drink, well, that's something to witness. A pride will approach water carefully. They're vulnerable there, you see. Lowering their heads to drink means they can't watch for danger as easily. So they come slowly. They look around. They listen. And then they drink. Great, long draughts. The tongue lapping steadily, creating a rhythm. Lap, lap, lap. The water is drawn into those powerful jaws. Swallowed, more lapping. Sometimes they'll drink for several minutes without stopping. Just standing there in the shallows, heads lowered, taking in the cool water. When they're finished, they'll lift their heads, water dripping from their chins and whiskers. They might look around again, satisfied, and then they'll move away, back to rest. Cubs are clumsy drinkers at first. They haven't quite figured out the technique. They'll get their faces wet, splash about a bit. Their mothers watch tolerantly. There's time to learn. There's always time. Lions don't swim, generally. They don't enjoy water the way some big cats do. But they'll wade into the shallows to drink, to cool off on particularly hot days. They'll stand in water up to their bellies, letting the coolness seep into their bodies, tails flicking at flies, eyes half closed against the bright reflection of sun on water. And sometimes, in the heat of the day, you'll find a lion lying in mud. It's cooling, you see. The wet earth draws heat from the body, so the lion will settle itself down in a muddy spot, let the mud coat its flanks, and rest there, perfectly content, perfectly unconcerned about cleanliness. That can wait. Coolness is more important now. The social life of lions, it's gentler than you might imagine. Yes, there's hierarchy. Yes, there's competition sometimes, but there's also tremendous affection, tremendous cooperation. Lionesses in a pride are usually related, you see. Sisters, mothers, daughters, cousins. They've known each other their whole lives. They've grown up together, hunted together, raised cubs together. There's a deep familiarity there, a bone-deep trust. You'll see them lying close to one another, even when the day is hot and proximity means more warmth. They want the contact. They want the reassurance of another body nearby. They'll rest with legs overlapping, heads on each other's backs, completely comfortable with touch. When one lioness gets up to move, often another will follow. Not because she needs to, just because. Well, just because. Because they're companions. Because being near each other is what they do. The males, when they're part of a stable coalition, show affection too. Male lions often work in pairs or small groups, usually brothers or cousins. They'll groom each other, rub heads together in greeting, lie close enough that their manes mingle, dark and light mixing together. There's a greeting ritual lions have when they haven't seen each other for a while. Perhaps one has been away, patrolling territory. There's a reunion. They'll approach each other with heads lowered slightly. Then they'll rub faces, quite vigorously sometimes, cheek to cheek, forehead to forehead, moving along each other's bodies, rubbing and scenting. It's tactile, it's warm. It's a way of saying, I know you. You know me, we're together. Sometimes this greeting is accompanied by small vocalizations, soft rumbles, chuffing sounds, nothing loud, nothing dramatic, just quiet acknowledgments. Hello. Yes, here we are. Block 3. The sounds lions make. They're more varied than you might think. Everyone knows the roar, of course. That tremendous, earth-shaking sound that carries for miles across the savannah. It's a powerful thing, a roar. You feel it in your chest as much as hear it. But that's not what we're here for tonight, is it? Tonight, we're interested in the quieter sounds, the everyday sounds, the sounds of contentment and comfort. Lions purr. Did you know that? Not like a small cat purrs. They can't make that continuous rumbling while breathing in and out. But they make a sound very like purring when they exhale. A deep, rumbling hum. It means the same thing purring means in any cat. I'm content. I'm comfortable. All is well. A mother with her cubs will make this sound often. The cubs make it back. It's a conversation of sorts. I'm here. You're here. We're safe. There's a soft, grunting sound lions make too, when they're moving together, when they're keeping track of each other in tall grass or in the dark. Little grunts, contact calls almost, just checking in, making sure everyone's accounted for, and the chuffing sound I mentioned earlier. It's made by blowing air through the nose and mouth simultaneously. Chuff, chuff. It's friendly, relaxed. The lion version of a small smile, perhaps. Cubs make high-pitched sounds when they're young, mewing almost, like any kitten, calling for their mother, calling for milk, calling for warmth and safety. As they grow, the sounds deepen, become more varied. They start to rumble like the adults, but they still make small sounds when they play, squeaks and huffs, little exclamations of surprise or excitement. Adult lions are generally quiet, though. They don't vocalize constantly. They don't need to. They communicate in other ways, through scent, through body language, through that deep familiarity that comes from living your whole life with the same individuals. The scent marking that lions do, it's important to them. The males especially. They'll spray urine on bushes, on trees, marking the boundaries of their territory. They'll scrape at the ground with their back paws, leaving visual marks as well as scent. But there's no urgency in it, no anxiety, just a regular maintenance activity. This is ours, the scent says. We are here. Lionesses mark territory too, though less frequently. And both males and females will rub their heads against things, trees, rocks, each other. There are scent glands on the face, you see, around the mouth and chin and cheeks. So this rubbing leaves their scent behind, a signature of sorts. The night comes slowly on the savannah. The sun descends, and the sky turns orange, then pink, then purple. The temperature drops. The air becomes easier to breathe. This is when the lions are most active, not frantic, never that, but present, awake. They'll sit up, many of them, survey the landscape with clear eyes. The cubs become playful. They'll chase each other in circles, pouncing and wrestling. The adults watch, tolerant. Sometimes a lioness will bat gently at a cub that gets too rambunctious, too close. A small correction. The cub tumbles away, unharmed, lesson learned. The night sounds begin. Insects, birds settling in for sleep. In the distance, perhaps, the laugh of a hyena, the snort of a zebra. The world is full of sound as darkness comes, and the lions listen to it all. They know these sounds. They've heard them every night of their lives. This symphony of the savannah, it's home. Sometimes, on a clear night, the stars appear. Thousands of them. Millions. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a river of light, and the lions lie beneath it, beneath all that vastness, completely at home. Do they notice the stars, I wonder? Do they have any awareness of that cosmic display? Probably not in any way we'd understand. But they're there, beneath it, nonetheless. Part of it. Connected to it in the way all living things are connected to everything else. The moon rises, and the landscape transforms. Everything silvered, everything strange and beautiful. The lions move through this moonlit world like part of the landscape itself. Like they grew from the earth, were shaped by the same forces that shaped the trees and the grasses and the rocks. When there's a full moon, they hunt less. Too bright, perhaps, too exposed. So they rest more on those nights. Lie in the silver light and watch the world. Patient, timeless. The cubs will play in moonlight, creating long shadows that dance across the ground. They're learning in this play, learning to stalk, to pounce, to fight. But it doesn't look like work. It looks like joy, like pure, uncomplicated joy. A young lion, almost grown, might play too. They retain that playfulness longer than you'd think. A sudden burst of energy, a chase across the grassland, just for the fun of it. The others watch, amused perhaps, remembering their own youth, or not thinking about it at all, just watching. Eventually, everyone settles again. The night deepens. The temperature drops further. The lions lie close together now, sharing warmth. Breath visible in the cool air. One by one, they sleep, not all at once. Someone always watching, always listening. But sleep comes to most of them, deep and still and complete. A lion sleeping is a marvel. All that power at rest, all that strength surrendered to dreams. The muscles relax entirely. The great body becomes soft, almost vulnerable. The breathing deepens, slows. The chest rises and falls in a rhythm as old as life itself. In, out, in, out. Sometimes you can see their eyes moving beneath closed lids. Rapid eye movement. They're dreaming. What does a lion dream of? Running across endless grasslands, the warmth of the pride, the taste of a fresh kill, or nothing specific at all, just sensations, feelings, images without story. A paw twitches, the tail flicks, small movements, remnants of whatever plays out in the sleeping mind, and then stillness again. The night passes, hours of darkness, hours of rest. The pride sleeps together, a living constellation of gold and shadow. Toward dawn, the sky begins to lighten. Just barely, just the faintest suggestion that night might not last forever. The eastern horizon loses a bit of its blackness, becomes instead a deep, deep blue. The birds wake first, always the birds. Their calls begin to fill the air, tentative at first, then more confident. The dawn chorus, they call it, a song of greeting to the new day. The lions begin to stir, yawning, stretching, that long, luxurious stretch that extends from nose to tail tip. Legs pushed out, back arched, mouth wide in yet another yawn. One by one, they rise, shake themselves. The fur ripples along their bodies, settling back into place. Sometimes they'll greet each other again. That same head-rubbing, face-touching ritual. Good morning, it says. Here we are, another day. The light grows. The sun hasn't appeared yet, but the world is brightening. colors return. The gold of the lion's coats becomes visible again after the monochrome of night. This is a peaceful time. This hour just before sunrise. Neither night nor day. Both and neither. The world suspended, waiting. The lions are calm. Unhurried. Some drink if there's water nearby. Some groom. Some simply sit and watch the horizon, waiting for the sun. And then it comes. The first ray of light breaks over the edge of the world. And then another. And then the sun itself appears, massive and orange and ancient. The lions turn their faces toward it, feeling its warmth already, feeling the promise of another day. Block 4. The morning light changes everything. The grass turns gold. The sky becomes blue, impossibly blue. The lions' coats glow in the new sun. They'll be active for a little while now, moving to new resting spots, checking on the cubs. The young ones are often hungry in the morning, and they'll nurse, kneading at their mother's belly with small paws, tails flicking in contentment. The mother lies there patiently. She's done this many times. She knows the routine. The cubs will nurse, and then they'll play, and then they'll sleep again. This is how it goes. This is how it's always gone. Lions live in the present, you see. They don't worry about tomorrow. They don't regret yesterday. They're here, now, always now. There's something we might learn from that. Something about presence, about being fully where you are, not half in the past, half in the future, but here, completely here. The heat builds again as morning progresses, and the lions, wise in the ways of heat and rest, begin to seek shade once more. The cycle continues, as it has for millions of years, as it will for many more, we hope. They settle back into their resting spots. The paws relax, the eyes half close, the breathing slows and deepens. Another day of rest begins. There's a lioness I've watched. Well, not watched exactly, but imagined, thought about. She's old now. Her face has gray in it. Her teeth are worn. But she's still here, still part of the pride. She rests more than the others, sleeps even more. 22, 23 hours a day. Her hunting days are mostly behind her, but she's still valued, still part of the family. The younger lionesses bring her food sometimes. Let her eat from their kills. It's respect, I think. Gratitude. She raised many of them, taught them, protected them. Now they protect her in turn. She lies in the shade, this old lioness. She watches the cubs play with eyes that have seen so much. She grooms the younger females when they sit near her. She's a repository of knowledge, of experience, of having lived. Sometimes a cub will approach her, uncertain. These cubs don't know her like the adults do. They weren't alive when she was in her prime, but they sense something, some importance, some value. And she's patient with them. She'll let them climb on her, bat at her tail. She might reach out and gently groom one, teaching it through touch that it belongs, that it's safe. This is the life of a lion, these quiet moments, these connections, this rest. The afternoon heat is building again now. The lions have barely moved in hours. They won't move for hours more. The sun is high and white and merciless. But in the shade, beneath the acacia tree, it's bearable. The lions endure it as they've always endured it, with patience, with rest. A cub sleeps with its head on its mother's flank, rising and falling with her breath, in perfect synchrony, perfectly safe. Another lies sprawled in that abandoned way only young things can sleep, completely limp, completely surrendered. An adult male, his dark mane spread around him like a corona, sleeps with his mouth slightly open. A fly lands on his nose. The nose twitches. The fly departs. Sleep continues. The world is so loud most of the time, isn't it? So full of noise and urgency and demand. But here, in this imagined space, in this quiet grassland of the mind, there's only the sound of breathing, only the slow passage of light across the land. The lions ask nothing of us. They don't need our approval or our understanding. They simply are. They exist in their lionness, complete and perfect and sufficient. And we can rest in that, I think. We can let go of our need to understand everything, to categorize and explain and make sense of. We can just observe, just be present with these creatures in their rest. The grass moves in a breeze, just slightly. The lions don't notice. Or if they do, it's only at some deep, instinctive level that registers safety. That registers no threat. So sleep continues. The shadows are starting to lengthen again, imperceptibly at first, but they're lengthening. The earth turns. Time passes, as it always does, as it always will. Soon it will be evening again. Soon the cycle will turn once more. But there's no hurry. There's never any hurry. The lions know this. In their bones, in their blood, in the very cells of their bodies, they know about cycles, about seasons, about the way things come around again and again. And they know about rest, about the necessity of it, the rightness of it. So they lie there, golden and still and perfect, under the vast African sky, breathing, being, resting. And perhaps, if you're ready, you can rest too. Let your breathing slow. Let it deepen. Match the rhythm of the lions if you can. In, out, in, out. Let your body become heavy. Let it sink into whatever surface holds you. Let it be held. You don't need to stay awake. You don't need to hear every word. This isn't a test. There's nothing to remember, nothing to learn. Just the image of lions resting. Just the feeling of peace that comes from knowing that somewhere, on a grassland far away, or perhaps not far at all, in the space of imagination where distance doesn't matter, somewhere lions are resting, and you can rest too. The light is golden now, that particular gold that only comes in late afternoon. Everything softened, everything gentled. The lions remain still. They'll wake soon. But not yet, not quite yet. For now, there's only this moment, this breath, this gentle, uncomplicated peace. The day fades, the night will come, and the cycle will continue, always continuing, always turning. But that's not for you to worry about. That's not yours to carry. Your only task, if you have one at all, is to rest, to let go, to allow sleep to come if it will. And if it won't, that's all right too. Just resting is enough. Just being here is enough. The lions would tell you this if they could speak. If they had words, they'd tell you that rest is not earned. It's not a reward for productivity. It's a necessity, a right, something every living creature needs and deserves. So take it, rest, however that looks for you, however it feels, and know that you're doing exactly what you should be doing. The pride sleeps on, the cubs curled together, the adults scattered across the shade, the old lioness with her gray face and worn teeth, the powerful males, the nursing mothers, all of them resting, all of them perfectly, completely at peace. And so can you be. So close your eyes if you haven't already, or leave them open. It doesn't matter. Just breathe, just be, just rest, like the lions, calm, still, safe, at home in this moment, at home in yourself, at home, at home. Rest now, just rest.